money's worth, the show that focuses on value. I'm Judith West, and our guests today are Les and Edie Lieber, participants in a documentary about living over 90 and loving it. Thank you both for being on the show. Okay,
Thank you.
Les. As a matter of fact, I have to make one correction just for the record, Les. You are over 90. In fact, you're 99.
I'm 99 and my wife is not 90.
Okay, we have that on the record.
Okay.
Tell me something. When will you be 100? What's your birthday?
March 16th.
Oh, so you just passed. Okay,
That's
well,
right.
I hope that we can invite you back for your 100th birthday. Do you know that not 2010, in the year 2009, Hallmark greeting cards sold over 100,000 happy 100th birthday cards? Over 100,000.
Really?
A very fast-growing segment of that, what's that word? What should we call it? More mature population are centenarians. We had a doctor on recently, and he reviews and studies centenarians. And I asked him what the qualities are that make a centenarian, 100. And he gave me some answers, but I'm going to ask you the same question because that's like asking from the horse's mouth. What are the things that has made you so alive and loving of life at 99?
Well, my wife, of course, is the main inspiration, but it took some time for me to meet her, and in the meantime, I had to find things that kept me interested. And I think perhaps I was a little superfluous in the number of things that I did engage in.
Okay, but you found something that you could put your passion around it. You're passionate about what you do.
Well, because I was interested in several things at the same time, I did not feel that I was putting all my passion into one thing.
Okay.
But I do think it's very important because I think someone told me that you were interested in people finding things that kept them alive.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. And for some reason, well, music is my main motivation.
Right.
Although it was not my profession.
But that's okay. This is what the music is what brings life to you.
Well, yes, it brings many things. It brings participation with other people.
Right.
It brings your artistic potentiality. But I'll tell you what interested me, what took me out of the dregs in a way, as far as being a person, was foreign languages.
Do you know that actually the research shows there is a very high correlation between learning languages and speaking languages and music talent? So I'm not surprised that you say that.
Between languages?
Between speaking languages and musical talent. There's a very high correlation of that talent in a person. So I'm not surprised that you say that. And as a matter of fact, you're on the show because the woman who produced this documentary, Over 90 and Loving It, met you as you were playing sax in a Jazz at Noon. Restaurant Jazz at Noon, correct?
Yes, that's right. Well, the French language started me off, and then that started me reading French magazines and getting interested in France's place in the world, and at that time, gee, I'm talking about myself an awful lot, but that's what this is about.
Yes. And
about that time, I went to a private school in St. Louis. I took up, for Christmas, my parents gave me a saxophone. I asked for a saxophone. Why?
How old were you How old were you at that time, Les?
I was about 13.
Oh, so you were a very young teenager.
Yeah.
Right.
And I immediately became enamored of the saxophone, and jazz, and I loved the French language. So that combined, boy, am I talking about myself. That okay. Combined into my finding a way to go to France. And how was that? You play your way over on a boat.
Oh, wow.
And so in St. Louis, I had a little orchestra, and we got a job on the Canard line, and I went to France, and there was able to speak French and learn something about France.
Did you study saxophone
I never took
academically?
I never took lessons on the saxophone. It just was...
What, are you self-taught? You taught yourself?
It was as if I was born with it, yeah.
Right. Instead of a silver spoon in your mouth, you were born with a saxophone in your mouth.
That's right.
Right.
And then, I don't know, it's hard for me to keep on talking about myself.
No, but I want to move forward. I want to move closer to this business of staying active, staying articulate. I mean, you certainly have shown us that, you know, you have you can speak very, very easily about yourself and your history. I want to move on to the enjoying life at 90 and over. Do you have friends that in your circle at your age? Are you able? I mean, how do you handle it? Are you able to? Are you social aside from the music?
I would say that all my life is now concentrated on my wife, and she provides all the. She's the social leader, and all the phone calls are for her. Right. And
so you're Edie. And
yeah.
Edie Lieber, and your Les's wife, who he is obviously very proud of and very much in love in. I was warned not to ask how many years you've been married, but I have to ask, can you give us a parameter? Over yes, 25, over 50?
I can. It's yes. over 50.
Over 50. Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We've both been married before.
Okay, so this is a second marriage that has blossomed, very much blossomed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, tell me something. All the surveys, all the studies show, and this gentleman we had on, that very important for a longevity, a happy life, is interaction with people, social activities,
yes.
Staying busy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you handle that piece of your life?
Well, we have many friends.
In your age group?
Not necessarily. As a matter of fact, hardly at all.
Right.
Most of our friends are younger than we are.
But you keep up with them, obviously.
Try to, yeah.
I suppose that's part of the passion of staying involved.
Yeah. We like to feel young, and I think we do.
You know, I think that's, you just have to do. One of the things that this researcher said, who studied centenarians, is that people that have remained vital and vibrant at that age think young.
Good. Oh. I think so.
Yeah, think young. I guess the very fact, Les, that you have a weekly engagement that you have in a restaurant, and you travel there. And
well, yes, I would like to make clear that my real profession is not music, but I was a magazine writer, and wrote approximately 700 articles over a period of 45 years with an important magazine.
Okay.
And
what were the themes of your
well, I just wrote about everything under the sun. I would go to the idea meeting every week, and they would turn to me and ask me what I wanted to do. But they also gave me ideas. If I'd known we were going to talk about it, I would have.
Yeah. But that's okay. I appreciate your telling us this, because it talks about the fact that you're kind of a global thinker. You think on a lot of different topics, and being a former journalist also, you're used to having a lot of ideas.
Yeah, well, that's true. You have to have a lot of ideas. Yeah. But now, my wife does all the thinking.
Oh, I think you're giving her. You want that much credit?
No,
I think he's giving too.
So.
I think he's giving you too much credit. Looks
Well.
I think that you're sharing too much credit with her. You're thinking pretty good right now. Right. Tell me what kind of. So you play jazz?
Well, yeah, I play jazz, and jazz. I used to do Benny Goodman's publicity. I was also a publicity
So you know something
man.
about the background of jazz.
Yeah. And I also did Paul Whiteman.
Yes.
You ever hear of him?
Oh,
Because
well, I'm glad you didn't ask me if I ever.
Well, you know.
Did I ever hear of him? Yes. I'm glad you didn't say whether I hear of him. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So
I'm sort of like your wife. We're of the same generation where it's perfectly fine for you to boast to us about being 99, but we don't want to boast about our age.
No.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's interesting.
yeah, so I did publicity, but all kinds of publicity. What was some of my?
Yeah. So you have a background in jazz as well as the fact that you're playing it. So
Well,
tell me,
yes,
when you go to this restaurant, Jazz at Noon, you play it. What do people like to hear?
Well, we've done Jazz at Noon since 1960.
For a long time.
65.
Well, it's
Yeah,
45 years.
45 years. In the same place?
No,
No.
we've been in 20 different restaurants.
And now you're at the Players Club.
Yes, and just before that, we were in the New York Arts Club right next door.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. Also the Gramercy Park area.
Yeah.
Yes, right. So tell me something, what kind of jazz do people like to hear? Who's
There's
some
only
of their
one kind
favorites?
of jazz, and that's good jazz.
Okay.
But it's
I'll
completely.
stand corrected.
But it is not rock.
Yeah. So give me some sense of what are some of the selections that people like to hear.
Some sense.
Yeah. So what are some of the things you play?
Numbers?
Yes.
Oh, I'll tell you how many numbers there are, because I have a book full of them. 3,000.
3,000.
Yes, and you can play any of them as jazz, but some of them are sentimental, and they're not jazz. They're popular. You know, like "I'll Never Smile Again."
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They tell a story.
oh, they do, but I have to let out on rock a little bit. They don't tell any story.
Well, that's what I said. The jazz tells a story, and going back to the idea of the qualities of over 90, when you're playing songs like I'll Never Smile Again, you put your heart into it, you put your passion into it, you put your feelings into it.
Yeah.
And perhaps that's one of the things that really does go a long way to keeping you thinking young, Les, because you're excited about it, you're active about it.
Yes, and you're improvising.
And you're improvising too.
That's right.
And I suppose that's also one of the good examples of life is always getting ready for the next move, improvising. Yes. Right. Yeah.
Well, you have to think in advance.
Absolutely.
And as a matter of fact, I always wonder which is doing. Is it your fingers that make you do this, and or is your brain telling your fingers?
Well, I have to say that's a very good way to end. Is it your fingers or your brain? Now, what's the connection? Well, it's been a delight to meet both of you, and we have to have you back for your 100th birthday.
Well,
and you're going to bring,
nice.
and when you bring your wife back, you'll bring your saxophone with you.
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much for being on the show. It was a delight.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Thank
You're listening to Getting Your Money's Worth with Judith West. Over 90 and loving it, and even over 99 and loving it even more. Thanks for watching.